What's up, guys? And today I'm going to be filling out my bracket for the 2020 NBA playoffs. I'm on the official NBA bracket challenge, and yeah, let's get right into it. First series here, we got the Lakers and the Trailblazers, who are like the hottest team in the NBA right now. Damian Lillard is the seeding games MVP. It seems like no one can beat them, and there's rumors that maybe the Blazers could be the first team since the We Believe Warriors to beat a one seed in the first round. And listen, I that could very well be possible. And let me just tell you right now, I originally, like, as soon as we all knew, like, the Blazers are making the playoffs. It wasn't guaranteed yet. They still had to play the playing game. I really did think that the Blazers would be able to beat this Lakers team. But then I found out that Rajon Rondo was coming back to the Lakers. Now, we don't know exactly when, if it could be a couple games into the series or maybe even later in like the second round. But my main problem with the Lakers, other than the fact that they just really haven't shot well in these seeding games, is that outside of LeBron, who is leading the league in assists, and he's the best point guard in the NBA right now, as weird as that sounds. Okay, well, maybe that's got to be Damian Lillard. But anyway, in the regular season, he was the best point guard in the league. But outside of him, they really didn't have anyone who could be like their initiator. And now that Rondo's back, I think that is huge. And for the Blazers, other than like Zach Collins and Yusuf Nurkic, they don't really have anyone. They don't really have any great to elite defenders, especially no one that's going to be guarding LeBron. So unless the Blazers can put up like 160 points and Damian Lillard is still averaging 50 in this series, I just don't see it happening. Whoopsies, I did the wrong. Hold up, give me a sec. Anyway, I don't see the Blazers being able to win this. I think they will get close, so I'm going to pick the Lakers in 7. And now moving on here, we got the Houston Rockets against the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now the Rockets, they were playing really well in the bubble, but they took a huge hit with Russell Westbrook's injury. And honestly, that concerns me because Westbrook has been playing some of the best basketball in his career. And to a little bit of surprise, the whole Westbrook and Harden thing has worked well considering, like, before this, they've both been ball dominant, and they're still ball dominant now. I mean, Russ is still managing to put up 27 points a game with Harden on the team, taking a bunch of shots. But Russell Westbrook will be back. I don't think he's going to miss this whole series unless he gets, like, even more badly injured in practice or something. But this definitely concerns me because without Westbrook, I don't know how the Rockets are going to be able to beat this OKC team. And I think that Westbrook will come back. He won't be 100% though, and by that point the series will already have been over. So I'm going to go with the Thunder in 6 games here. Denver Nuggets and Utah Jazz. Now, this was going to be a super good series, but earlier today, we found out that Mike Conley is leaving the bubble. He will be back. It's because his kid's getting born, so shout out to Mike Conley for that. But, I mean, this isn't too much of a big blow. Conley was expected to be like a superstar, and he's been a disappointment. Let's just say that. Obviously, he ain't been like terrible, but with the contract and the contract he was given and the expectations that the Jazz had, has definitely been a disappointment. Now, part of that was because he was injured. He's not completely falling off. He was hurt, so I'll cut him a bit of slack. But even though he wasn't himself this season, the Jazz are still going to miss him. And I was going to have this go into 7 games, but without Conley, I think that the Nuggets are going to get this one in 6. And now we got the Los Angeles Clippers against the Dallas Mavericks. Now this should be a fun series because this is really going to be a test of how good Luka Doncic is at this point in his career, because this is his first playoff appearance. The Mavs haven't made the playoffs in like 3 years, I believe. And Luka, he's going to be guarded by Paul George, and there will be some times when he's going to be double teamed, and Kawhi Leonard will also be guarding him as well. So I don't think he'll be scoring as much as he used to. He won't be rebounding as much as he used to. He'll probably get a lot more assists. And that's kind of saying something, because this man has already had a 20 assist game in the bubble. But honestly, the Mavs just aren't ready yet. Give them a couple of years when Luka and Kristaps Porzingis are both going to be all-stars. They've both already made all-star teams, but not when they're on the Mavs. But I'm going to have the Clippers in 5. I think Luka is going to have one supernova explosion where he gets like a 40-point triple-double or something crazy like that. But other than that, I don't think the Mavs really got a chance here. Now for the Eastern Conference. We got the Milwaukee Bucks and the Orlando Magic. Just like the Bucks versus Pistons series last year, this is totally lopsided. The Magic have only won 3 games in the bubble, and they didn't even have an all-star this season, even though Vucevic is still playing well. But I'm going to have the Bucks sweeping them. This won't really even be close at all. Now we have the Indiana Pacers and the Miami Heat. We got the TJ Warren, Jimmy Butler beef on a whole nother level. Because TJ Warren, you know, he's been doing the whole get really good thing. And either way, there's no way this series doesn't go to at least 6 games. It's probably going to go 7, in my opinion. But it's going to be a very competitive series, and this is one you guys are going to want to tune into. Anyway, for this series, I think that Miami is going to get the dub in 7 games. The Pacers, they're a good team, especially with TJ Warren, but they're really going to miss Domantas Sabonis. He's been really good for them. And without him on that team to play defense, give them a huge low post threat, and Miles Turner is one of those as well. He's also a good 3-point shooter. But the Heat, man, they're stacked. I'm surprised they're the 5 seed. But to be honest, a lot of people thought they weren't even going to make the playoffs because, you know, Bam wasn't an all-star. No one thought he was going to be an all-star this year. But yeah, I think that the Heat are just a more talented team, and they also got more playoff experience, even though Victor Oladipo, I mean, they got a bunch of people from the team that almost beat LeBron's Cavs, but I still think that the Heat will be able to get this dub. And now we got the Celtics and the 76ers. We got the Raptors against the Nets. Now, this will probably be a sweep, but the Nets, they've been kind of surprising. Oh, wait, no, I don't want to pick them. So as I have the Raptors winning in 5 here, Caris LeVert, he's been pretty nice in the bubble. We all know that he's a good young player and that he's going to help the Nets be really, really good once they have Kyrie and Kevin Durant back. And the fact that they had to sign... The fact that they're playing well, I mean, they're the 7th seed, but they've beaten the Clippers and the Bucks. Now, let me just give you some context. Obviously, 2K20 updated their rosters when all the teams were signing people for the bubble, and whenever you do a My League, it says the Nets are over the limit of 20 players on their roster. Can we auto-release people? So, yeah, that's how many people they had to go out and sign, because, like, Spencer Dinwiddie was opting out, DeAndre Jordan was opting out, Nicholas Claxton, but that's not really relevant. So, yeah, they had to sign so many people, and the fact that they're beating these good teams, it's nice. It's nice to see. So, I think they will get 1 game for the defending champs, but nothing else. Now, the second round. We'll head back to the Western Conference here. And I feel like this is when the Lakers will be playing at their peak form again. They won't be back to, like, their best form themselves, but they ain't gonna be looking like they were in the bubble. Excuse me. They'll be spooked because they were 1 game away from really choking and losing to this 8th seed Blazer team. So they're gonna be really serious. And yeah, I will have them winning in 6. The Thunder are a really good team, y'all. They're underrated. Even when Chris Paul likely starts to regress, we don't know if they're gonna even trade him in the offseason. The Thunder are gonna be super good next year. if they don't decide to just blow the whole thing up and trade Chris Paul. But Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's shown the potential. I believe he'll have multiple All-Star appearances by the end of his career, and he'll lead the Thunder to some good years, unless he, goes somewhere else. But the Thunder will take 2 games, but playoff LeBron will start to become a thing, and Anthony Davis. You see, the one person I expect to have a huge series if they do face the Thunder is Anthony Davis, because the starting power forward for the Thunder is Danilo Gallinari, who is not exactly a defender. And Anthony Davis is one of the best offensive bigs in the league. He's one of the best bigs in the league overall. And so, if Gallo has to be guarding AD, then the Thunder can't really win this series, honestly. Now, moving down here, we got an amazing one in the Nuggets and the Clippers. This could go 7, but my concern here for Denver is they don't have much playoff experience. Obviously, Jokic and Jamal Murray and Paul Millsap and all the dudes we know and love, they almost went to the conference finals last year, but they lost to the Blazers in 7. But all of the breakout guys like Michael Porter Jr. and Bol, they haven't been to the playoffs at all. They've not played an NBA playoff game before. Obviously, Michael Porter Jr. was with the team when they made that run, but he didn't play because he was injured. So it's going to be Michael Porter Jr.'s first playoff basketball, and obviously he has an increased role because he's like a breakout star in this bubble. So that is my concern. And also, the Nuggets aren't the greatest defensive team. They're alright, but I don't know how they can guard Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Montrezl Harrell, all those guys for 7 games. So I will have the Clippers in 6. We got a lot of 6 and 7 game series here. These playoffs are going to be entertaining. And moving on over here, we got the Bucks and the Heat. Now, we all know that the Miami Heat, they seem to have the Bucks number this season. They've beaten them 3 out of 4 times, or 2 out of 3, I don't really know. They've beaten them a lot. They're one of the few teams that really is giving Milwaukee trouble this season. But in the playoffs, I mean, this is when they'll probably start to hear all sorts of criticisms about, oh, they're going to be able to make the finals again, all that stuff, because, they were up 2-0 on the Raptors last year and then blew it. And I think that the rest of the Bucks, Giannis' supporting cast, they're going to play well, because I got a feeling that if the Bucks do not win the championship this year or make the finals and lose in 7, that Giannis will be gone when his contract is up. I'm not going to predict where he goes, although I think it'll be the Raptors, but that's for another video. But I think that the rest of the Bucks, Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, Dante DiVincenzo, Brook Lopez, they're not going to let the Bucks lose this series. So I think that in another 6-game series, the Bucks will win. Bam will be pretty dominant against Brook Lopez, and he'll probably also lock him up defensively. And then you're going to have Chris Middleton going against Jimmy Butler. Even though this isn't going to go 7, it should still be a very fun series. And speaking of a fun series, we got the Raptors and the Celtics here for the last semifinal. And let me tell y'all, the Raptors and the Celtics, they're kind of the same team. They got all-star point guards, Kyle Lowry and Kemba Walker. They got all-star power forwards, Pascal Siakam and Jason Tatum. I forgot his name there for a second, so that's concerning. And they have a duo of centers that are good, but they aren't great, in Serge Ibaka and Marc Gasol for the Raptors, and Daniel Tyson and Enes Kanter for the Celtics. And clearly, the Raptors got the better center duo here, which is the X factor for the Raps winning this the series in 7. It's gonna be close. Tatum has played pretty well in the bubble. Obviously, he was in my all bubble team video, which doesn't have a lot of views. It's fine though. But yeah, this should be a pretty close game, and the Celtics will be back very strong next year. And so we got the two we got the 4 best teams in the league here for the conference finals, which should be very, very fun. What did I do here? I think I just accidentally scrolled up. First off, for the Western Conference, we got the Lakers and the Clippers, battle for LA, and the right to go to the NBA Finals. This is like an NBA fan's dream here. This is going to be an amazing series. It's going 7. It is absolutely going 7. And I think that the Clippers are going to win. All season long, from October all the way up until the Lakers didn't really play well in the bubble, this team was my championship pick. LeBron, I think he should be the MVP. It sounds weird because he ain't playing too well in the bubble, but he should absolutely be the pre-COVID-19 MVP. He was dominant, and so was Anthony Davis. But the Clippers are such a deep team. The Lakers aren't really shooting it well. I don't think they realize that it is harder to turn it on and off that easily, you know what I mean? And I think that the Clippers are going to catch them lacking here. And this might close LeBron's window for another championship, but it's LeBron James. He's one of the greatest players of all time, so you never know. And then we got the Bucks and the Raptors, a rematch of last year's conference finals. And both of these teams are better. And this is crazy because the Raptors don't have Kawhi Leonard. Obviously, he's right here. But they were on a pace to have a better win-loss record than their championship team. They could have gotten 60 wins if the season was not suspended. I believe their best record could have been 63-19. So that's crazy. But like I said, the Bucks, they're not going to want to lose this series because this very well could be this could be the season that Giannis Antetokounmpo decides he wants to go play somewhere else. And obviously the Bucks don't want that because he's going to win the MVP. And I think that in another 7-game battle, the Bucks are going to outlast. Ultimately, they're going to have like a bigger desire to come through here. It's going to be very close. The Bucks are just going to pull away because pretty much their entire future is at stake here. And then the NBA Finals, at least my pre-playoff pick, the Los Angeles Clippers and the Milwaukee Bucks. Now this is another series that's probably going to go 7. And that's probably crazy because I have so many of these series going 6 and 7. But that's a good thing. It's going to be awesome. And so I have no idea what to say right now. I'm completely blanking. My apologies. I'm going to cut this out. So here's the thing here. The Clippers are a super deep team, and they also have an amazing defense. The Bucks have good depth. It's not as good as the Clippers, but their defense is amazing. This is one of the better defensive teams in NBA history. They have 2 players who are in contention for DPOY. Not finalists. Giannis Antetokounmpo, who is a finalist. Then we got Brook Lopez, who it's kind of crazy to be saying that he's one of the best defenders in the league because, you know, in Brooklyn and earlier in his career, he wasn't too good at defense. But I'm going to have the Bucks winning here in 6 games. I know this said... Oh, hold up for me. I don't really care about the whole bracket challenge thing. I just want to do my predictions for YouTube. Like I said, this could go 7, and easily could, because Kawhi is an entirely different beast in the playoffs. But, I've said this before, Milwaukee is going to have more desire. They're going to want it more, and that's why they're going to close it out in 6 games. And the Clippers, Kawhi is just entering his prime. Paul George will probably be back to his old self, and the Clippers are going to be very dangerous next year. Right now, they're my pick for next year, even though it's early. But yeah, that's it. I got the Milwaukee Bucks winning the championship over the Clippers. We got a lot of 7-game series. Matter of fact, let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7-game series. So expect these playoffs to be very entertaining, and there's going to be a lot of games that you want to turn into. But as for me, that's all I got for this video. See y'all later.